Hey, what's going on, everybody? Samuel Akem here, and I'm back with another one. I appreciate you guys for tapping into Akem'S analysis for another week of previews. Every Big Sky team has a heart, and so do we. L&M Fine Jewelry is Montana-owned, family-run, and proud to support the same communities that pack the stadium every Saturday. When you're ready to celebrate life's big moments, trust the jeweler with hometown roots and high-end style. Located on American Way in Missoula and Main Street in Kalispell. Michael and Landy, the owners of L&M Fine Jewelry. L&M Fine Jewelry is the official jeweler of Akem'S analysis, as well as the Samuel Akem YouTube channel. So please make sure you guys go check them out when you're looking to buy that ring for that special person. They won't let you down. L&M Fine Jewelry, your diamond destination. Week 5 in college football is going to be a very, very exciting one. Not a ton of exciting games in the Big Sky Conference, but there is one. A big-time ranked matchup between Montana and Idaho under the lights on ESPN2. All the things. It's the game of the week in the FCS. It's definitely the game of the week in the Big Sky Conference. It's going to be exciting. Opening week of a conference play is starting, so some conference matchups will be taking place. I got a ton of numbers I want to get to. Montana State will be taking on Eastern Washington. I believe that's at home for Montana State, so that'll be a big game for them. Then you got Sac State taking on Cal Poly. I think that could be an interesting game. We'll get to see Sac State against a conference opponent, so that'll be exciting. UC Davis is taking on Weber State. UC Davis is ranked 9th. Sac State is ranked 21st. Montana's ranked 4th. And then Idaho is ranked, or Montana State is ranked 4th. Montana's ranked 5th. Idaho's ranked 8th. And then the last game we will talk about North Dakota State versus South Dakota. I know we covered the Big Sky, but any big game that ever happens to the FCS, I always want to make sure I do my due diligence and cover it a little bit. So we'll talk about North Dakota State and South Dakota at the end of this. Could there be an upset? Who knows? North Dakota State looks like a wagon. South Dakota finally caught their stride. Their numbers look interesting, but we'll get into all that once we get to it. Please make sure you guys hit the like. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. Make sure you guys leave me a comment down below, and we will get straight into it. Okay, first things first, Montana versus Idaho. The Little Brown Stein is on the line. I didn't even mean for that to rhyme, but the Little Brown Stein is on the line, and we all know that. Under the lights, 8:15 p.m. in Missoula, the Mecca. It's going to be an amazing, amazing atmosphere. Chase Daniels is calling the game. He announced that today, talking about the stadium and all that thing. It's going to be exciting, man. It's going to be an exciting game in Missoula. I can't wait. Top ranked matchup. Montana's favored by 6.5. I think they could cover. The over under is 54.5. Those are the numbers, man. I think Montana will cover. I'll say that at the beginning, so you guys know where my head is at. I think Montana will win this game. And I think they can win it by a touchdown or more. I saw some other people online talking about it, and maybe some other books have it even heavier favorite in Montana's favor. I think somebody said it might have been a 14-point spread on some other books. I don't know. I know Sportsbet Montana, and I know that's the sports bet. I know that's the sports book for the state of Montana. So 6.5 is the line, folks. And I think that's a healthy line. I think that's where it should be. Top 10 ranked matchup. Josh Wood is going to play a big part. You know, I've talked about Josh Wood all season long. I am a fan, a huge fan of Josh Wood's game. I would love to see him be a little bit more consistent. Will we see that in this game? I think the best game he's had so far this season has been against St. Thomas, 280 passing yards, 87 rushing yards, the game-sealing rushing touchdown. I mean, he is the guy. The top 2 rushers in the Big Sky Conference are Eli Gilman. He's first with 400 rushing yards, and then Josh Wood is second with about 300 rushing yards. I don't have it on here, but I posted it on Twitter this week. Josh Wood's second in the conference, like 313 rushing yards in the conference. By the numbers, let's look at the stats for each team. Montana currently has the number 1 scoring offense in the Big Sky Conference, the number 3 scoring defense in the Big Sky Conference, the number 1 rushing offense in the Big Sky Conference, number 8 rushing defense in the Big Sky Conference. That's something that you want to pay attention to. Number 8 rushing defense in the Big Sky Conference, and I believe Idaho has one of the top. They have the second best rushing offense in the Big Sky Conference behind Montana. So number 8 rushing defense in the Big Sky Conference for Montana. That will be something to pay attention to. That is going to loom big in this game. How good can Montana be at stopping the run? Obviously, you know, Idaho wants to run the ball. What does that look like? Number 2 passing offense in the Big Sky Conference for Montana. Number 3 passing defense in the Big Sky Conference. The number 1 total offense for Montana. The number 6 total defense in the Big Sky Conference. Montana is number 11 in sacks in the Big Sky Conference with only 4. They're 8th in the Big Sky Conference with sacks allowed, so not great right there. They're giving up a ton of sacks. They're not bringing the opposing team's quarterback down to the ground. They're tied for first in the Big Sky Conference with interceptions. I think about 4 teams are tied for that at 4. Number 12 in the Big Sky Conference in forced fumbles. Montana is taking the ball away in terms of interceptions, but in terms of punching it out, not doing a great job. A few more. Montana is 3rd in the Big Sky Conference in opponent third down conversion percentage at 31.9%. They are 1st in the Big Sky Conference in 4th down conversion percentage. That means no team has converted a 4th down on Montana yet. They've only had 2 attempted. I suspect that Idaho is probably going to be in a situation where they will try to convert some of those. Montana is 3rd in the Big Sky Conference in 3rd down conversion percentage at 46.7%. That means they're converting almost 50% of their 3rd down conversions, which is really good. Montana is 1st in the Big Sky Conference in red zone defense. When teams get into the red zone against Montana, they're converting, either getting a field goal or a touchdown 50% of the time. Really good there. 8th in the Big Sky Conference in red zone defense at 83.3%. That means 83.3% of the time that teams get in the red zone against Montana, they are leaving with points. So those are the numbers for Montana. Let's look at Idaho. 23.75 points per game on offense. I don't have it right in front of me. Let me go to the page. Scoring. Idaho is 9th in the Big Sky Conference in scoring, currently at 23.75 points per game. They're allowing 20 points per game on defense. That is 2nd in the conference, but also Montana is at 20 points per game. So they're tied at 2nd in the conference as the 2nd best defenses in the conference. So defense, we're going to get to see. But also, mind you, Montana has played Central Washington. Idaho played Washington State, San Jose State. So they've played tougher composition. Idaho has. So keep that in mind as well. I think these teams are pretty evenly matched. 203 rushing yards per game. That's 2nd in the Big Sky Conference. I said that. Allowing 126 rushing yards a game. That is 2nd in the Big Sky Conference behind Montana State. So what does that mean? They're allowing 126.8 rushing yards per game. They only gave up, if I'm not mistaken, when they played Washington State, I believe they only gave up 3 rushing yards. Maybe it was passing yards, but I think on the ground, they only gave up 3 yards on the ground, 3 rushing yards on the ground. I can't remember. I don't have the numbers right in front of me. Sorry if you see me leaning down. I'm taking off my socks. I am hot, but I don't want to take my pullover off. I know I'm weird. But allowing 126.8 rushing yards per game, that's 2nd in the Big Sky Conference behind Montana State. Why does that matter? Montana currently has the number 1 rushing offense in the Big Sky Conference. They're averaging 227 yards a game on the ground. Idaho is giving up 127 yards per game on the ground, 2nd in the Big Sky Conference. So strength on strength. Montana's really good at running the ball. They're number 1 in the Big Sky Conference currently, which is weird to say because you got Montana State in the Big Sky Conference, which you always assume they're going to be number 1. They're not. They're not really. The running the ball isn't really Montana's State's biggest strength currently, I would say. We'll get to them later. But it's going to be strength on strength. Idaho is good at stopping the run. Montana's good at running the ball. Something's going to have to give. Something is going to have to give. Let's keep getting into the numbers. 166 passing yards per game, and I think that ranks near the bottom of the Big Sky Conference. Idaho is currently 10th in the Big Sky Conference in passing offense. In terms of passing defense, they are 7th in the Big Sky Conference, but 10th in the Big Sky Conference in passing offense. They are going to have to up that number if they want to beat Montana. I think they're going to have to be able to pass the ball successfully. Montana currently has the number 3 passing defense in the Big Sky Conference. That is behind Northern Colorado and Portland State. Crazy that I just said Portland State has one of the top numbers in the conference in any statistic, but there they are right there, giving up 177.8 yards per game. That's Portland State. Montana's giving up 185 yards a game through the air. Let's keep it going. Allowing 210.75 passing yards per game defensively. Like I said, that is 7th in the Big Sky Conference. Idaho is ranking 7th in the Big Sky Conference in passing defense. So something Montana has been getting better and better and better at. Ayat has set career high in passing yards in each of his last 4 starts. That's per Athletics. They posted that this week. Against South Dakota State last year, 231 yards. Against Central Washington this year, 250. Against North Dakota, 300 flat. And then against Indiana State, 313. So a quarterback who's trending up, an offense that's trending up, that is dangerous for Idaho. Josh Wood has been inconsistent at times. He has been good. He was good against St. Thomas, but struggled with efficiency in the passing game for 3 out of his 4 games. So basically, 75% of the games Josh Wood has played this year, he's been kind of up and down in the passing game. His numbers have been up and down. He's been consistent. I mean, I told you, the St. Thomas game was by far his best game up and down. He was good in the passing game. He was good in the run game, but their defense wasn't great. Their defense gave up 30 points to a Pioneer League team. So that's something to look at. Maybe St. Thomas offensively is better than we think, but that's something to pay attention to. Montana must make the most of their possessions. Idaho leads the Big Sky Conference in time of possession at 35 minutes a game. So anytime, and you know, I mean, it's different head coaches, but this has been Idaho for the last 4 or 5 years. They are going to hold the hell out of the ball. They're going to bleed the hell out of the clock, and they don't want you to see the ball. They don't want you to see the ball often. That's what we've seen from Idaho, and that currently is what it looks like right now. Let's keep at the numbers for Idaho. 36.9, 369.3 yards per game total offense. They're 8th in the Big Sky Conference in total offense. They are 3rd in the Big Sky Conference in total defense, averaging 337.5 yards per game on defense. Montana in total offense is 1st in the Big Sky Conference in total offense at 527.3 yards per game, and 6th in the Big Sky Conference in total defense at 392 yards per game. So take that for what it is. What did I say for total offense? They're 8th in total offense. So offensively, Idaho is a running team. Idaho wants to run the ball. They want to ground and pound. Art Williams is 4th in the conference in rushing at like 2 something, I think higher 2s. And then Josh Wood is 2nd in the Big Sky Conference. So 2 of the top 5 rushers in the Big Sky Conference play for Idaho. It's not hard to believe what they want to do. So the read option is going to have to be a key for this Montana defense. The scramble plays, I think you need to spy Josh Wood early and often. Make him understand that we are not going to allow you to run all over the yard. If you're going to beat us, you're going to beat us with your arm. And I think that's the key for Montana. Josh Wood has been inconsistent. 3 of his 4 games, he's been inefficient in the passing game. And I think that is a trend more than it is I think that is a trait more than it is a trend. I think that's just who he is. Currently, that's what we've seen. We have to take him for what we've seen. 3 out of the 4 games, he's been inefficient in the passing game. I think that's a trait more than it is a trend. I think Montana needs to load the box in the run game, force Josh Wood to beat you in the passing game. Now, I think they have good receivers at Idaho. I do not think they have great receivers at Idaho. I think if Montana wants to come out victorious in this game, you force those receivers to run good routes. Now, that could be a strength for Idaho, too. I'm also talking about how Idaho could beat Montana. If Montana decides to dedicate all their eggs in that run-stopping basket, that leaves them vulnerable defensively. As you've seen with Montana, let's see with passing defense. They're the 3rd best passing defense in the Big Sky Conference. But if you've watched the games, the numbers don't tell the full story. If you have watched Montana play football, you know that they are susceptible in the pass game. Now, yes, Micah Harper's the highest rated defender, one of the highest rated defenders in the Big Sky Conference. I think he ranks 1st in coverage in the Big Sky Conference per PFF. Keon Loud is near the top of some of the defenders, of some of the pass coverage defenders in the Big Sky Conference. Per PFF, but when you look at some of the defensive backs for Montana, they have been cooked all season. If Idaho can find a way to get behind the secondary of Montana, they can be successful. But you know, Montana's going to bring pressure. Montana's going to keep Josh Wood uncomfortable. I think they have to be gap sound, Montana does, if they want to win this game. You got to be gap sound because when you're rushing, you got to stay in your rush lanes. Do not let Josh Wood leak out because he will hurt you. Make no mistake about it. He will hurt you. He can and will. Let's finish the numbers for Idaho. 10th in the Big Sky in passing offense. Idaho is not great at all. That's what I was talking about earlier. 6th in the Big Sky in passing defense. That's middle of the pack. There's 12 teams in the Big Sky Conference. 9th scoring offense in the Big Sky at 23.3 points per game. Mind you, though, they played Washington State. We won't really say San Jose State because they did put up, what did they put up? 27? I think they put up 27 points in that San Jose State game, 28 maybe. So they scored well in that game. We don't want to count that against them. 2nd in scoring defense in the Big Sky at 20. We said that. 1st, this is a big number and this is a big stat, and this is something that is going to loom really big in the game. Idaho is currently 1st in the Big Sky Conference in 3rd down conversion percentage at 49.2. 3rd downs are big. That is money down. You must get off the field. Idaho is converting almost 50% of their 3rd down conversions. I know Montana is 3rd in 3rd down conversion percentage at 46.7. So they're not very far off. In terms of 3rd down conversion defense, Montana is third in the Big Sky Conference in third down conversion percentage, opponent third down conversion percentage. That means the teams against Montana are converting almost 31.9, so 32% of their third downs. Third, strength on strength. Montana is third in the Big Sky. Idaho is first in the Big Sky. Let's take it to the other side of the ball. Idaho is seventh in the Big Sky Conference in opponent third down conversion percentage at 39.1%. So teams are converting almost 40% of their third down conversions against Idaho. On the other end of things, Montana is third in their third down conversion percentage offensively. They're converting 46.7. I know I just said that, but they're converting 46.7, so almost 50, close to 50% conversion percentage. So that seems like a strength on a weakness for Montana's standpoint. They're really good at converting their third downs. Idaho's not great at getting off the field on third down. Last stat for Idaho, which I've already talked about, they are first in the Big Sky in time of possession. So I think there's strength and weaknesses on both of these teams. Montana is really high right now in a lot of the stats, but also understand that Montana has not played as many games as every other team outside of the UC Davis in the Big Sky Conference. Montana's only played 3, and they played a D2 opponent. So yes, Montana looks good. Yes, Montana has a ranked victory, but understand this is a big test, and I think Idaho will be a bigger test than what North Dakota was. Maybe. We'll see. I think Idaho's good. And I think Josh Wood's good. I think Art Williams is good. I think they got good pieces on that defense. But like I said when I first opened this up, I am picking Montana to win this game. I think they will cover that 7-point spread, 6.5-point spread. I think they can win by a touchdown. I think if this game does become close, I think 7 is not a close game, but also 7 is not like that was a game that either team could win if it's a 7-point, if you win by 7. With that being said, I think what Idaho has to do to win this game is lean on the run game. Montana, what did I say? Where's the stat I said about the run game for Montana? Rushing defense. Montana is 8th in the Big Sky in rushing defense. I think that's the end for Idaho. Idaho is rushing offense. Where they at? Why am I like this, man? They're second in the Big Sky Conference in rushing offense behind Montana. But that's Idaho's key to victory. That's Idaho's key to victory. Running the ball. If Idaho has a 250, 300 rushing yard game, I think we might be talking about a game that Idaho wins and Montana unfortunately loses. I think that's where we're at with this. I think Idaho is going to run the ball. If they do that successfully, I think Montana is going to struggle. On the other end of things, I think if Montana can stop the run game of Idaho, I think they make life hard for Josh Wood, especially given the interesting stunts and the blitz packages that Montana can put together. I think that can make Josh Wood uncomfortable and inefficient. You've already seen him be inefficient in 3 out of his 4 games this season. I think if Montana can push him to that point, that's their biggest key. Now, obviously, I think Montana has the upper hand in this game. I think they're playing better ball right now. I think they're kind of getting their confidence up. They definitely have one of the most confident quarterbacks in the conference right now with how he's been playing, and I think that's only going to build. They have the best running back in the conference. When you look at it from a talent perspective, the Montana team is more talented and should win this game. But when you look at it from some of the metrics and some of the things that Montana is susceptible, like the run game, like the over-the-top passing game, that's where Idaho can be successful at. So that's my thoughts about this Idaho versus Montana game. I think it's going to be a phenomenal game. It's a trophy game, the Little Brown Stein. I played in this game twice, never lost this game. I played in this game 3 times. We played 2018, we played 2019, and we played 2021, and we won all 3 times, baby. 2018, we won in the Kibbe Dome. 2021, we won at home, or 2019, we won at home, and then 2021, we won in the Kibbe Dome. So I'm 3-0 versus Idaho. I wish I could say the same thing about the Bobcats. We won't get into that. But this is going to be a good game. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be very exciting. Josh Wood is the key. Art Williams is the key for that Montana defense, for the Montana offense. It's running the ball successfully, being able to get the downfield passing game. Ayat needs to stay efficient. He completed 81% of his passes last week. He needs to be in that range, around the 70. He doesn't have to be 80, but he needs to be near 70 at the very least. Above 65% completion percentage for this to be a game where people are looking at, and for Montana to win and cover that spread, I think Ayat needs to be in those very efficient numbers. So you guys let me know in the comments what you think about this game. What are your thoughts? Do you think Montana's going to win? Do you think Idaho's going to win? Let me know in the comments down below, and I will move on. Okay, next we are talking about Montana State versus Eastern Washington. Montana State has been struggling to get things going. I mean, when you look at this team from 2024, they were a wagon. Best offensive line in the Big Sky Conference. one of the best quarterbacks in the Big Sky Conference. No, the best quarterback in the Big Sky Conference. Best running backs in the Big Sky Conference. I mean, all the things that they had, one of the best defenses in the Big Sky Conference. They were a wagon. They do not look the same this year. And even in the run game has not been as successful this year. That's what I missed. I didn't put the Montana State numbers on here. So I'll go through I'm on the Big Sky website. I'll go through the numbers. Offensively, Montana State has the 8th best scoring offense in the Big Sky Conference. But remember, they played Oregon. By the end of the season, things will even itself out. But that Oregon game is a huge outlier, and it hurts their numbers. But per Big Sky Conference website, 23.8 points per game. Defensively, Montana State has the 5th best defense in the Big Sky Conference, averaging 24 points a game. Let's look at rushing. Rushing offenses. Surprise! Montana State has the 5th best rushing offense in the Big Sky Conference currently at 176.8 yards per game, but they have the number 1 rushing defense in the Big Sky Conference, 125 rushing yards a game. And I've said this, and I'll take a pause right here on the numbers because I've been saying this about Montana State. The way Montana State is going to win games is the exact same way Montana won games in 2023. Defense. Montana State is a wagon defensively this year. They have a ton of good weapons on that team. I've named them off all the time. Cole Taylor, Zach Cruz, Kenneth Iden, Paul Brott, Caden Dowler, all the pieces on that defense. They have guys on that defense. Number 45, I still need to look up his name, but number 45 is another great player on that defense. They got players on that defense. Let's look at the passing. Montana State has the 8th best passing offense in the Big Sky Conference at 194.8 yards a game. Not great. But when has Montana State had the number 1 passing offense in ever? They haven't. They rarely ever do. So that's not something we're holding our breath for Montana State. But I think that's something they do need to lean on. And I think they do if they want to challenge in the playoffs and they want to challenge for the national championship. Montana State needs to be better in that metric. They need to be near the top 5 in the Big Sky Conference because if you're not going to be a top rushing team, you must be a top passing team. Now, they're still, like I said, they're still 5th in the conference in rushing, so they're not terrible in the run game, but they're not where you would think Montana State should be. Passing defense. Montana has the 4th best passing defense in the Big Sky Conference, 1 step behind Montana at 193.8 yards a game is what they're giving up. Let's look at the defensive numbers. Sacks against. So how many sacks have they given up? Montana State is 9th in the conference, and actually let's flip this around. Who's given up the most? No. Who's given up? Idaho State has only given up 1 sack this year. Montana State has given up 8 sacks this year. Now, I haven't really looked at the historical numbers from seasons past, but I know Montana State has they have good offensive line. They're a good rushing offensive line. Like when they run the ball a ton. So their offensive line is really good at run blocking. But for a team like that doesn't have to pass set as much as their run blocking, they're going to struggle. And I've seen that on the film. I haven't necessarily looked at the numbers, but in years past, I've seen that on the film that, hey, they run block really, really well. But when it comes to pass protection, they struggle at times. Even that team last year struggled in pass pro last year. They're 9th in the conference in sacks allowed. 1 behind Montana at 8. They've given up 8 sacks this year. How many sacks has Montana State been able to generate? Nobody's catching Sac State. They're at 18 sacks. They're a wagon on the defensive line and on their linebacking core. That is something that a lot of teams are going to have to game plan for and pay attention to. Montana State is 5th in the conference in sacks by their defense at 8. Interceptions. Montana State is 10th in the conference at 1. They only have 1 interception this year. Forced fumbles, Montana State is 5th with 3. Those are some of the numbers. Conversion percentage. Let's look at third down conversion percentage. Montana State is currently 4th in the Big Sky Conference in third down conversion percentage at 45.1. Montana State is 2nd in the Big Sky Conference in third down conversion percentage. So they're allowing teams are converting about 30% at 29.2%. They're converting about 30% of their third downs against Montana. That Montana State, that is really, really good. Fourth down conversion percentage. Montana State is 5th in the conference. Well, actually, is this? Yeah, they're 5th in the conference at 60%. They're converting 60% of their third down conversions. They've attempted 5, and they've converted 3. And then opponent fourth down conversion percentage. Montana State is 8th. Teams have attempted 11 fourth down conversions, and they've converted 7. So 63% of those. Not great for Montana State. But those are the numbers for Montana State. I didn't want to stay on the numbers, but I did want to say the numbers. I want to know, and my question for this game is if Montana State can put it together and play a full game. This is a team that's ranked top 5 in the country. Some have them ranked 4, some have them ranked 5. I had them ranked 5 this week. I did move Montana above them. I like more what I've seen from Montana than what I've seen from Montana State. If you have a problem with it, please DM me. Please hit me up on Twitter. Please leave a comment. I love when you guys snap back at me. Let me know. MSU has the 5th best rushing offense in the Big Sky. Oh, I've already talked about some of this stuff. I think the key for Montana State is Nate Bell. Nate Bell, he's only completed about 50% of his passes, 504 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. But in the run game, 42 carries, 270 yards, 6 rushing touchdowns for Nate Bell. Now, I did see a report online, and I have it right here by Victor Flores of 406 Montana Sports. He said Jared Taylor and his fill-in Nate Bell will be in at some point in the game together against MSU against Montana State as long as Taylor is cleared, says Aaron Best. So I don't know if he has a concussion. Usually when they say as long as he's cleared, that usually means a concussion. So I'm probably guessing Jared Taylor probably has a concussion or something like that. But they're saying that both of them will be on the field together as long as both are cleared. The leading rushers currently for Eastern Washington are Nate Bell and Jared Taylor. So if Jared Taylor plays, that's definitely something to pay attention to. Let's look at the numbers from Eastern Washington. And actually, I'll just go back to the Big Sky website because it's easier there. Eastern Washington currently has the 7th best scoring offense in the Big Sky Conference at 25.3 points a game. Eastern Washington has the 8th best scoring defense at 32.5 points a game. I mean, you can put points on Eastern Washington. If you have a competent offense, you can put points on Eastern Washington. I'm not even saying that to poo-poo on Eastern Washington. I'm just being very genuine. You can score points on Eastern Washington. Even when they had Eric Berrier and they had the best quarterback in the conference and they had the best offense in the conference, they were giving up points. It was 50-40. Every win was 50-35, 38-35, 45-40. Like they were getting in shootouts, man, shootouts. We had to put up 55 and 20-21 in the playoffs to beat them. They just kept scoring. They're just gonna keep they will put up points no matter what it is. For some reason, Eastern Washington has that touch offensively. Was that scoring? Yeah, that was scoring. Okay, let's look at the rushing numbers. Eastern Washington is 6th in the conference in rushing at 166.8 yards a game, and rushing defense, they're 7th in the conference at 186.3 yards a game. Passing defense, Eastern Washington is currently 7th in the Big Sky Conference at 197.3 yards a game for passing offense. And then passing defense, my goodness. Eastern Washington is 12th in the Big Sky Conference in passing defense at 302 yards a game. That is the key for Montana State. I don't think Montana State is necessarily a passing team. I think they still want to run the ball. But I think, actually, they've said it. We don't have to guess. Montana State has said this year they want to be a more balanced offense. They've leaned heavily on the run game for the past 5 to 10 seasons. They want to switch that around. They want to be more of an even balanced offense. They want to run the ball as much as they pass the ball. I think last week when we looked at it, they ran the ball significantly more than they passed it. But they won the game 17-0. That's what it's about. And I think in that game they did have to run the ball a lot because towards the end of the game they're running the clock out, all that stuff. But Eastern Washington has the worst passing defense in the Big Sky Conference, giving up 300 yards a game through the air. Taco Dowler, Chris Long, those tight ends, Adam Jones out of the backfield. That is where the key of victory is for Montana State. I didn't look up the lines for this Montana State Eastern Washington game. I think I saw them though. I think they're like 30-point favorites, I think I wanted to say. Maybe that was the South Dakota Mercyhurst game. Either way, South Dakota State Mercyhurst game. But either way, Montana State is for sure favorite in this game, and I am taking Montana State to win this game. I think they'll win by 28 points, 21 to 28 points. I think it'll be a 3-4 score game. If Eastern Washington can make it close, good. I don't think they will. Once again, that's not to downplay Eastern Washington. I'm just judging you based on what I've seen. You haven't looked like a very good football team this year, and that is where my prediction and my thoughts come from. Let's look at the conversion percentage. Third down conversion percentage, Eastern Washington is 11th in the Big Sky Conference at 28.1%. They're converting about 28% of their third down conversions. Not great. Opponent third down conversion percentage against Eastern Washington. They're 10th in the Big Sky Conference. Offenses are converting 44.6% of their third down conversions against Eastern Washington. That's not great. Let's look at fourth down conversion percentage. Eastern Washington is sixth at 55.6% of their fourth down conversions. They've attempted 9. They converted 5. Opponent fourth down conversion percentage. Eastern Washington is 7th at 57.1%. Teams have attempted 7. They've converted 4. So those are the numbers for each team. It's going to come down to Jared Taylor and Nate Bell, I think. For the Montana State defense, it's going to come down to Nate Bell and Jared Taylor. And conversely, for Eastern Washington to win, Nate Bell and Jared Taylor are going to have to play a really good game. And it's not going to have to be in the run game. I think Eastern Washington is going to be able to get a little bit success in the run game. Maybe not against Montana State. Where's Montana State rushing offense? Defense. They're the number 1 rushing defense in the Big Sky Conference. So strength on strength for this game right here. Who's rushing offense? Eastern Washington 6th. Not great. But Montana State's got the best rushing defense in the Big Sky Conference. And that is with playing Oregon in those numbers. That is including their game against Oregon in those numbers. So take that for what it is. But they played against Oregon, and they still have the number 1 rushing offense in the Big Sky Conference. So understand how crazy that is. Because imagine if they didn't play Oregon. What would their rushing? They played South Dakota State. South Dakota State couldn't even get heavy run game involved. I mean, Montana State is a defensive football team for the 2025 season. That is what the fans are going to have to come to terms with. You're playing defense this year. Get ready to learn defense, buddy. But I mean, that's not a bad thing. But I think if Eastern Washington wants to win that game, Jared Taylor and Nate Bell are going to have to play good games, but it's not going to have to be in the run game because I think they're going to stymie that. Jared Taylor and Nate Bell are going to have to air the ball out. And that's why I don't think Eastern Washington is not going to win this game. And I'm not even trying to jinx Montana State. Eastern Washington is not going to beat Montana State. They don't have enough weapons offensively. They don't have enough offensive firepower. They don't have no offense, like their quarterbacks aren't good enough throwing the ball, I think, to beat this Montana State football team. So that's what I say. Please don't kill the messenger. Please don't kill the messenger. Eastern Washington is currently 1-3 with 1 win against Western Illinois. They also lost a close one to a 2-2 UNI 14-17. So that's where I think this is. Eastern Washington is not great defensively. They're decent offensively, but they're not great offensively. In past seasons, it's been like Eastern Washington is really good offensively. They just suck on defense. They're not that great offensively this year, and they're terrible defensively. So I got Montana State winning this game. I got them winning big. I got Montana State catching their stride in this game. I think Montana State's going to start to get that offense. They're going to get that offense figured out. They're going to start to get that offensive line figured out. The run game's going to come alive, I think, in this game. I think the passing game is also going to come alive. I think everybody's going to eat in this game for Montana State. You guys let me know what you think about that in the comments down below, and I will move on. Okay, the next game I want to talk about, Sac State versus Cal Poly. First thing I want to say about this game, this Cal Poly team, I said it in the offseason. I didn't say it to everybody. I tweeted it to a friend of mine. I said, hey, this is a player you need to pay attention to. He is going to go off this season. And it was really only like one metric I was looking at. He led the conference last year in yards per catch. And it wasn't just like, oh, he had 3 catches for 110 yards. That's why he led the conference in yards per catch. No, he had a decent stat line. I think he had like 300, 400. The player I'm talking about is Michael Briscoe. Cal Poly wide receiver, number 10. He's got, I don't even have the numbers right in front of me. I'm a doofus. But he's got like 20 catches, 428 yards, 7 touchdowns. I think he had a 4-touchdown game a couple of weeks ago, 3 or 4 touchdown game, 21 yards a catch. He's averaging 21 yards a catch. He is a dog, a big play receiver. Get the ball in his hands. He will do the rest of the work. Just get the ball in his hands. That is the key for Sac State. Let's go by the numbers. Number 6 scoring offense in the Big Sky Conference. This is Sac State. Number 6 scoring offense in the Big Sky Conference. Number 4 scoring defense in the Big Sky Conference at 21 points a game. Number 4 rushing offense in the Big Sky Conference at 195.3 yards a game. Number 6 rushing defense in the Big Sky Conference. Number 5 passing offense in the Big Sky Conference. And number 5 passing defense in the Big Sky Conference. So in terms of numbers, Sac State is sitting around the middle of the Big Sky Conference in all of it. Rushing, passing. The one thing they're not sitting in the middle at is sacks. Sac State leads the Big Sky Conference with 18 sacks. That leads the country. I think that's FCS or FBS. I think that leads the country. Maybe just it for sure leads FCS. But I think I saw something this week that said that might also lead the FBS. They are a wagon on the defensive line. They can rush the passer. Xavier Williams, Jalen McLaughlin, Dylan Hampson, Derek Houston, Koa Akui. I think that Koa Akui, whoever, they got dogs on that defense. Really good job. Cal Poly stats. Number 4th in scoring offense at 30.8 points per game. Number 7 in scoring defense at 30.3 points a game. Number 11 in rushing offense in the Big Sky Conference at 102 yards a game. Ew. Number 3 in rushing defense in the Big Sky Conference at 167.5. Number 3 in passing offense at 289 yards a game. And number 9 in passing defense. Where are they at rushing defense? Number 3 rushing defense. Sac State wants to run the ball. That's what they want to do. They got a bevy of running backs in that backfield, as well as Cardell Williams, who's looking like that boy. He can run that go-go offense. He looks good in that go-go offense. Cardell Williams is their guy. Cardell Williams has been putting up a lot of points since he has been the starter. And their last 2 games, Sac State has put up like 94 points in their last 2 games. They are looking like they're catching their stride. Defensively, they're giving up 22 points a game in their last 2 games. So defensively, not stellar. They're way better defensively. Well, they haven't given up a ton of points this year. Their defense hasn't. That's the thing too, is I think the most points they've given up this year is 28, maybe to Mercyhurst. That's the most points that anybody has scored on this defense. So 28 points is the most that anybody's put up. Sac State is good defensively, and they can rush the passer very, very well. And what Cal Poly wants to do is throw the ball. They cannot run the ball. They haven't been able to run the ball. I'm picking Sac State to win this game. I think Sac State's going to win big, but I think the key that they have to key in on is Michael Briscoe. Michael Briscoe is a player. Ty Diefenbach is one of the highest graded quarterbacks in the Big Sky Conference. I think he, per PFF, he's higher graded. He's graded below, gosh, why am I going blank? I might have to pull up the numbers, but in all the quarterbacks per PFF, actually out of all offensive players, Ty Diefenbach is the 5th best offensive player per PFF in the Big Sky Conference. So they got some good pieces. Their receiver, Michael Briscoe, is good. Ty Diefenbach is good. It's just their squad. Their offensive line is not good. Their defense is not great. And those are the things that really hurt Cal Poly. But Cal Poly is 1-1 versus FCS teams right now. So that's something to pay attention to. Like I said, Sac State has the best pass rush in the Big Sky Conference. Jalen McLaughlin is number 1 in the Big Sky Conference in sacks at 5. And Dylan Hampton, I think, is 3rd in the Big Sky Conference at 3.5. And then they have 3 of the top 4 in the Big Sky Conference in tackles for loss. Jalen McLaughlin at 6.5, Dylan Hampton at 5.5, and Devin Wright at 5. So defensively, on their defensive line, they have some players on that defensive line. So that's where the strength of this Sac State team is. It's the run game, Cardell Williams, and that defensive line. They got some players. So I got Sac State winning this game. I don't think it's going to be particularly close, but I think Cal Poly could threaten them. You know, if Cal Poly gets going offensively, if Michael Briscoe gets going, if they can find some success in the run game, I think that's where they could threaten Sac State. Also, I think Sac State has a tendency to play with their food a little bit. With Mercyhurst, they toyed around with it the whole first half. They even they were down by 2 scores in the first half. The next, I can't even remember who they played last week, but they played with their food a little bit. Nevada, I think they should have won that game. I think they could have played better in that South Dakota State game had they played Cardell Williams, but they didn't figure that out until it was too late. I don't even think Cardell Williams played in that game. So they didn't even figure that out in that game, but I strongly believe that Sac State is going to win this game, and they're going to win big. And I think they're going to start rolling. I think Sac State's going to start rolling. They got some easier opponents these next couple of weeks, and I think we're going to start to see this Sac State team really, really wake up. We have seen them wake up against Mercyhurst and their opponent from last week, but I think, as things continue to roll, I think they're going to continue to roll. So I got Sac State in this game. Those are the numbers. You guys let me know what you think about that down below, and I will move on. Okay, next we got UC Davis versus Weber State. UC Davis is ranked number 9 per the stats perform. UC Davis has been good. They have one game that was canceled against Mercer. I would have loved to see that game be completed. Let's go by the numbers. Let's look at the numbers for UC Davis. I'm just going to go back to the website like I've been doing. In scoring offense, UC Davis has the 5th ranked scoring offense at 30.3 points a game. Scoring defense, UC Davis has the 11th ranked scoring defense, but remember, they did play UW, who put up 70. That is an outlier. You take that 70-point game in there, I'm guessing they're probably towards the middle of the pack, maybe towards the top of the Big Sky Conference in scoring defense. I think they would probably be near the top had they not played that Washington game. So Understand that for what it is. Same with Montana State. I think Montana State would be near the top had they not played that game against Oregon. Rushing offense. UC Davis is the third best rushing offense in the Big Sky Conference at 199 yards a game. Rushing defense, UC Davis is 10th, allowing 212 yards a game on the ground. Now, I don't know how many rushing yards Washington had on UC Davis, but I've seen this live in effect. When I've watched UC Davis, they've struggled with tackling at times. They've been a little inconsistent defensively at times. Southern Utah last week was able to get a lot of what they wanted. I think Joshua Dye had 150 yards on the ground last week. So they've been susceptible to that, and they can be had on the ground, and that's something for them to pay attention to, because Davian Godley is nothing to play with. He is similar to a Joshua Dye. He's similar to a Eli Gilman. He's similar to all the top backs in the conference. He's not Eli Gilman, but I say he's similar. He's very similar, and he can have the same effect as all those top running backs in the Big Sky Conference. So that is a problem for UC Davis, and that is something to pay attention to. The tackling has been up and down at times. Passing offense. UC Davis is ninth in the Big Sky Conference in passing offense at 185.7 yards a game. Passing defense, UC Davis is 11th in the Big Sky Conference at 297.3. Now, I don't know what the numbers were for UW when they played in terms of passing and rushing, but I got to guess those games play a part into it. Also, understand that UC Davis has only played 3 games similar to Montana, so the numbers aren't necessarily as equal as everybody else. So take these with a grain of salt, but that is where UC Davis is currently. Let's look at the defensive numbers. Sacks against. How many sacks has UC Davis given up? Oh my goodness. UC Davis is last in the Big Sky Conference in sacks given up. They've given up 11 sacks. And this is a UC Davis squad that was coming into the season with projected to have one of the top offensive lines in the Big Sky Conference. As you guys can see, I opened the door over there because your boy's head was starting to get a little shiny. I was sweating in here. I had to alleviate the pressure. But UC Davis has given up 11 sacks so far this season in 3 games. And then you look on the other side of things, how many sacks have they gotten? UC Davis is 10th in the Big Sky Conference in sacks. They've only got 5 sacks this year. So haven't been able to get to the passer a ton, have been allowing people to get to the passer a ton. And that kind of goes against what a lot of people thought coming into the season with them having one of the top offensive lines in the conference. That is something to pay attention to, not only in this game, but going forward. If they can't protect the passer, there's no way they can make it deep in the playoffs, which is what a lot of people think this UC Davis squad was going to be able to do. I think you got to start to reevaluate that. Interceptions. UC Davis has taken the ball away 3 times through interceptions. That's 6th in the conference. Forced fumbles. UC Davis is tied for 2nd in the Big Sky Conference with 4 forced fumbles. So yeah, those are the numbers. Let's look at the conversion rate. Third down conversion percentage. UC Davis is 5th in the conference on third down conversion percentage at 40%. On opponent third down conversion percentage, UC Davis is last in the Big Sky Conference in opponent third down conversion percentage. Teams are converting almost 60% of their third down conversions against UC Davis at 59.6%. That is not good. That's something to pay attention to, not only in this game, but going forward. But also, you got to understand that they played UW, so understand where those numbers come from. I'm sure UW maybe converted probably 100% of their third downs if they even saw a third down against UC Davis. So, actually, 47 attempts. That disapproves what I've said because they have the attempts and the conversions. 47 attempted conversions, 28 conversions against UC Davis. So that is a stat to pay attention to. Teams are converting 60% of their third downs. A defense that is not great at getting off the field. That's what I take from that. A defense that is not great at getting off the field. Fourth down conversion percentage. UC Davis is 10th at 33.3%. They've attempted 3. They've converted 1. Opponent fourth down conversion percentage. UC Davis is 9th. Teams have attempted 6 and converted 4 at 66.7% on fourth down conversion percentage. So those are the numbers for UC Davis. Let's look at some of the numbers for Weber State. For Weber State, they are 10th in scoring offense at 23.3 points per game. Scoring defense, Weber State is 10th in the Big Sky Conference at 39.5 points a game. Rushing, Weber State is 7th in the Big Sky Conference at 166.5 yards a game. And rushing defense, they are 11th in the Big Sky Conference at 226.8 yards a game. That is the key right there. And I know I've been going through the numbers, looking at where I can find a discrepancy and holding on to it. I think Weber State also played Utah. So with some of these numbers, you got to understand, like with FCS ball, they're going to play an FBS opponent most times. because of the money, and most times they're going to get beat up unless you're Montana in 2021. Everybody can't be like us, but that's most likely what's going to happen most of the time. And Weber State is giving up 230 yards on the ground a week. And with what we saw last week from UC Davis with Carter Vargas and Jordan Fisher, they have a two-headed monster at running back. And that is really one of the biggest things I wanted to talk about for this game. Their two-headed monster at running back, Carter Vargas and Jordan Fisher. I think Jordan Fisher is actually, let me look. I put it on here. Jordan Fisher is 5th in the Big Sky Conference in rushing at 287 yards a game. But oh my goodness. That is where UC Davis is going to have to live at in the run game. They got a young quarterback in Caden Pinnock. He's been good, not great. He's definitely showed his freshman tendencies. The one thing that I think UC Davis has to key in on is Davion Godley. He is one of the better running backs in the Big Sky Conference, and I think also leading rushing. Davion Godley is 3rd in the Big Sky Conference currently with 301 rushing yards behind Josh Wood and Eli Gilman. So he can run the ball. They can run the ball. And that's something that UC Davis is going to have to key into. If for nothing else, if Weber State can't do anything else, they are going to attempt to run the ball, and that's something that UC Davis has to pay attention to. UC Davis has 2 players in the top 10 in sacks at Jacob Syke, the transfer, and Sam Goligoski. Both have 2 sacks. Jacob Syke is also, they changed it to psych like psychology. No, stop auto-correcting. Jacob Syke is 8th in the Big Sky Conference in TFLs with 4. I think this game is going to be a win for UC Davis, and I think they're going to win by at least 2 scores. I don't think Weber State is the team of the late 2010s, like the 17, 18, 19, 20, when they were winning those Big Sky championships, making it to the playoffs, making it to the semis. I don't think that is where Weber State is at, and I don't think they've been there for a minute. I think UC Davis should win this game. But I think the key to stopping the Weber State, I have WSU up here. That's why I was about to say Washington State. But the key to stopping this Weber State offense is stopping Davion Godley. I don't think they have a ton of other weapons on that Weber State offense that are something that you really need to sneeze at or pay attention to. I mean, obviously you got to pay attention. Obviously you're going to watch the film. Obviously you're going to have your keys and all that stuff. But I don't think this is a very strong Weber State team. I think UC Davis can handle these guys. I don't know what the line is, but I would guess that it's probably 14 to 21 points with the line favoring UC Davis. And yeah, I got UC Davis big time in this. So I'm picking UC Davis to win this game. And I think what I want to see from them is I want to see a clean game from Caden Pinnock up and down. I want to see him be efficient in the passing game. I want to see him scramble around a little bit too, but protect yourself. I would love to see Carter Vargas and Jordan Fisher go crazy. And more than anything, I need to see a really, really good game from the UC Davis defense. I think this could be a game where the UC Davis defense gets some confidence. I think they've been had in some weeks. Utah Tech was able to have their way with them in the first half. Southern Utah was able to have their way with them at times. Obviously, Washington was able to have their way with them. And then obviously even Mercer. Mercer started to have their way in that second half before that game was canceled on that UC Davis defense. So, it's something to pay attention to that UC Davis defense has been had, and they haven't been playing. They haven't been playing great ball. Obviously, some of the numbers are jaded right now, but they've been susceptible to things. So, inconsistent defense. I want to see that cleaned up this week. Good tackling, and I want to see them hold this team to like 7 to 10 points. That'd be the key for UC Davis for them to really come out of this game looking better than they have already. So, I got UC Davis by 2 to 3 scores. You guys let me know what you think about this UC Davis team. What do you guys think about this UC Davis versus Weber State game? Let me know in the comments down below, and I will move on. Okay, last but not least, I wanted to talk about North Dakota State versus South Dakota. I work for Skyline. I know we cover the Big Sky Conference, but also I'm one of the ones at Skyline that loves to tap into the rest of the FCS. Even like Coulter always tells me when they want to talk about the rest of the FCS, they come to me because they know I'm paying attention, they know I'm watching, and they know I care. I care about all of the FCS. Every team, I'm looking at you. Presbyterian, I'm looking at you. UGRTV, I'm looking at you. ACU, I'm looking, everybody, I'm looking. The Patriot League, the Pioneer, the Southern, the SoCon. The one thing I'm not as good at is the HBCUs, the SWAC and the MEAC. I need to be better at paying attention to the HBCUs. The only reason I have a hard time looking at the HBCUs is because they don't play in the FCS playoffs. I mean, they do sometimes, but for the most part, they're not playing in the FCS playoffs. So I have a hard time devoting my energy and time to paying attention to the HBCUs when we know we're not going to get to see them in the FCS playoffs. I would love to, and don't get me on my soapbox about talking about that, and I'm supposed to be talking about NDSU USD, but man, we got to find a way to get more HBCUs in the FCS playoffs. I need that, and I want that. Anyway, NDSU versus South Dakota. Number 1 ranked North Dakota State. They've looked like a wagon. And I'm going to be going through some of the MVFC numbers where they rank in the MVFC. If you look at the numbers in all of the FCS, I'm sure North Dakota State is near the top of all of it. Defensively, they're giving up 5.7 points a game. I think they've only had like 15 to 20 points scored on them this season. They are playing really, really, really good football right now. Cole Payton looks really good. Barika Pinu looks really good. All the pieces on that team. But hey, LJ Phillips is that boy too. So pay attention. But NDSU is number 1. South Dakota is number 17 per Stats FCS. This is a MVFC championship rematch. Kind of, not so. It was a championship game for South Dakota. It was also it was an MVFC championship last year. North Dakota State and USD were playing for the MVFC championship. South Dakota won, but that gave them a tied record. They don't play championship games in the FCS, so they tied and shared the title. But that gave USD the ability to be one of the top ranked seeds in the playoffs. NDSU was still the 1 seed, all that stuff. Were they the 1 seed? No, I think they were the 1 seed. Either way, I think they were the 1 seed. Were they, or was it South Dakota State? Either way, they played last year at the end of the season. It was a phenomenal game. I did break that game down. If you want to go rewatch it, go rewatch it. North Dakota State, South Dakota. It was a great finish to the game. I can't even talk about it. NDSU has looked like a wagon. Let's look at the numbers for NDSU. 46 points per game offensively. That is first in the MVFC. I think by a decent margin too. They're allowing 5.7 points a game defensively. That is first in the MVFC. They are first in the MVFC in sacks with 10. They are second in the MVFC with sacks allowed with 2. They are last in the MVFC in interceptions with only 2. They are last in the MVFC with forced fumbles with only 1. They got the number 1 rushing offense in the MVFC at 220.3, the number 1 rushing defense in the MVFC at 79.3, and I actually have the MVFC, some of the numbers pulled up, so let's get into it. Rushing, North Dakota State 220. Rushing defense, they're number 1 with 79.3. Passing offense, they're number 1 at 284.3. Passing defense, they're number 1 at 78.7. Let's look at the defense. Sacks against, they've only allowed that's South Dakota has only allowed 1 sack. North Dakota State has only allowed 2. Sacks by, they're number 1. They're tied for number 1 at 10. North Dakota's up there too with 10. And then let's look at the conversion percentage. Third down conversion percentage. Do I have this filtered as most to least? Third down conversion percentage. North Dakota State is 6th in the MVFC at 36.7% third down conversion percentage. Opponent third down conversion percentage. North Dakota State is number 1 in opponent third down conversion percentage. Teams are converting 22.5% of their third downs. That is crazy. Fourth down conversion percentage. NDSU is 1 at 100%. Opponent fourth down conversion percentage. NDSU is I keep looking at North Dakota. NDSU is 7th in opponent fourth down conversion percentage. Teams have attempted 3, converted 2 at 66.7%. Those are the numbers. Let's look at the numbers for South Dakota. South Dakota has the 8th best scoring offense in the MVFC at 21.5%. Scoring defense, South Dakota has the 7th best scoring defense at 28.3 points per game. I think this is a season, and I'm gonna pause with the numbers right now. I think this is a season where South Dakota did not start out very strongly. I think a lot of that has to do with their new head coach. I think a lot of that has to do with some of the transfers that they lost. I think in that spring transfer portal window, remind me somebody from the South Dakota squad. 3 transfers on the offensive line in that spring transfer portal window, 3 starters also. That hurts, and that's going to take some time to get used to, and I think South Dakota is finally starting to catch their stride, because if you've seen LJ Phillips the last couple of weeks, I'm not going to get into it. Just go watch. That boy good. But South Dakota defense, their 7th best scoring defense. Rushing, South Dakota has the 3rd best rushing defense at 201.8 per game. Rushing defense, South Dakota has the 7th best rushing defense. Not good when you're facing the number 1 rushing offense in North Dakota State at 147.8 yards a game. Passing offense. This is where South Dakota is struggling, and this is why I think South Dakota is not the same team as they were last year. Karan Adams, number 8. I can't remember what number 8's name was, but he caught the game winner against North Dakota State at the last game of the season. I think this is where they have taken a step back. South Dakota has the 10th best passing offense in the Missouri Valley Conference at 139.8 yards a game. That is not good at all. Passing defense. South Dakota has the 4th best passing defense in the Big Sky in the Missouri Valley. Sorry, I was just talking all Big Sky. That's why the Big Sky is on the tip of my tongue. But South Dakota has the 4th best passing defense in the Big Sky Conference at 217.8 yards a game. So pretty good there. Pretty good there. Let's look at defensively. They've only given up 1 sack. Really good. They've gotten 5 sacks on the season. Not great. They're 9th in the Missouri Valley in sacks with 5. And then let's look at the conversion percentage. Third down conversion percentage. South Dakota is 4th in the Missouri Valley at 37.5. They're converting 37.5 of their third downs. Third down conversion percentage. Defense. They're 6th in the Missouri Valley with third down conversion defense at 42%. Teams have attempted 50, converted 21. And then fourth down conversion percentage defense. South Dakota is 7th with 40%. And their opponents are converting. They're 6th in the Missouri Valley with 66.7% is what teams are converting against them. So similar to North Dakota State, except they've had more attempts, but it's the same percentage. So there's that. There's the numbers for each team. I got some more numbers too. LJ Phillips is currently 2nd in the MVFC in rushing with 517 yards. This boy didn't even start the whole season. He's at 517 yards. Now, obviously he had 300 rushing yards in one game, but 517 is absolutely crazy. And he did not do that against a D1 opponent. Against a D2 opponent. He didn't do that against an NAIA team. He didn't do that against a Bishop Sycamore. He did that against Northern Colorado. And Northern Colorado has been playing decent ball this year. Not great ball, but they've been playing decent ball. Obviously, you're giving up 300 yards to one rusher. That's where the problem is for Northern Colorado. But we're not talking about Northern Colorado today. USD's Caden Crawford is number 1 in the MVFC in tackles for loss with 6. NDSU's Elijah Wayne is 5th in the MVFC in tackles for loss at 3.5. Talked about LJ Phillips. Barika Pino is 6th in the MVFC in rushing with 220. But I think they spread the wealth a little bit. Cole Payton's going to run the ball. Barika Pino is going to run the ball. And I think they got some other running backs. Also, with the way North Dakota State has been beating people, how much ball is Barika Pino playing? Not much. Probably not much. He's probably playing a drive or 2 in the third quarter, then he's out of the game. So understand that too when looking at these numbers. Cole Payton is 6th in the MVFC in passing at 706. And I know we just looked at the passing numbers. What was the stat that we were looking at? Was it the passing? Yeah, they're 10th in the, yeah. So what is the passing defense in NDSU? They're 1 in passing defense. So you got strength on weakness in this South Dakota, North Dakota State game. I got North Dakota State winning this game. I did want to talk about this game because I thought it potentially could be close. But I think North Dakota State's gonna overwhelm them. And I just don't think South Dakota has enough in the receiving game. They lost Carter Bell. They lost number 8. They lost Charles Pierre is out for the season. Obviously, that's a running back, but they lost a ton of receivers last year. So, Karan Adams transferred away. I think he actually transferred in the spring transfer portal window, but they lost a ton of pieces at South Dakota, and I think that's ultimately in the passing game where they're going to be hurt at. Best passing defense in North Dakota State. You are the worst passing offense in the Missouri Valley. You got a really good quarterback in Nathan Bauman, but if he doesn't have anybody to throw the ball to, he can't do anything. And I think that's what you've seen with this South Dakota squad this year is that he doesn't have anybody to throw the ball to. So number 1 passing offense in the MVFC in North Dakota State versus the number 4 passing defense. So defensively, South Dakota has been hanging in there. They've been hanging in there. I know I talked about the passing scoring. Passing. Passing defense, South Dakota is 4th. Rushing defense, South Dakota is 7th. So they're not terrible defensively. There's a reason I'm picking North Dakota State. It's because the numbers aren't in their favor, but also, North Dakota State looks like a wagon. I would pick North Dakota State because this is like a semi-rivalry game. We might call it a rivalry game. You guys can let me know is it a rivalry game? Is there a trophy on the line for this game? I don't know. I don't think so, but I don't know. I know the marker game, but I don't know about this one. Either way, I think South Dakota could make it interesting if they can get some things going in the passing game. If they can find consistency in the run game, I think they could make it interesting. But you're going against the number 1 rushing defense. The number 1 rushing defense, the number 1 passing defense. North Dakota State is number 1 in everything. So you're going to have to play a perfect ball game or near perfect ball game. You're going to have to force North Dakota State to make some mistakes. You're going to have to poke some holes in some of the numbers that we've been seeing currently. You're going to have to do something to knock them off their pivot. But they look really, really good. Aiden Bauman is going to have to be super accurate. He's going to have to complete some passes to those receivers. And LJ Phillips is going to have to drive those legs. You're going to have to find the run game. I know North Dakota State is good at stopping the run, but to win this game, South Dakota is going to have to run the ball. And they're going to have to run the ball well. You need to run the ball well. There's no questions asked about it. There can be no questions. You must run the ball, and you must run the ball often. That is what I think. That is what I know. I got North Dakota State winning this game. I think it'll be a better game than a lot of people will probably give credit for. It is a ranked matchup, number 1 versus number 17. I think we could see a scenario where North Dakota State wins this game by a ton of points, but I also think we could see a scenario where South Dakota make this interesting. It's a cross state rivals. They know each other. They've played a lot of ball against each other. These coaches, well, maybe these coaches don't know each other. They got a new head coach, but I'm sure these coaches are familiar with each other, familiar with their schemes, familiar with what they want to do. It's going to be an exciting game. It's going to be a phenomenally exciting game. I cannot wait for it. You guys let me know what you think about North Dakota State versus South Dakota. Let me know in the comments down below. Who do you got winning this game? I got North Dakota State. But, hey, you guys let me know. I think it'll be closer than a lot of people think. I think it'll probably be more like 10 to 17 points difference opposed to like a 20 to 30 point difference. But we don't know. This would be a really good test although it's going to be a good test for South Dakota, I think this game is going to be a really good test, and it's going to be a really good barometer to see how good North Dakota State is. Like, we know North Dakota State is really good. How good are they? How many points are they going to win this game by? That is what I'm keyed into. That is what I'm paying attention to. You guys let me know what you think about that in the comments down below, and I will move on. Okay, I want to thank you guys so much for tapping into the channel. I want to thank you guys so much for tapping into another one of my previews. Big weekend this weekend. Come check us out at the pregame show. Come talk to me on my tailgate tour if you want to. If you want to answer some of my questions, DM me. Hit me up on Twitter. Let me know. I'll come check you out. But I want to thank you guys for tapping in. Let me know if there's any games that you guys if there's any teams that I'm not currently talking about and you want me to talk about. I know I don't talk about Portland State a ton. I know I haven't talked about NAU. I've talked about NAU a little bit, but I haven't talked about them a ton. I try to cover the biggest games happening in the Big Sky Conference. But if there's something that, if there's somebody that's watching my channel waiting for me to talk about a team, let me know, because I don't know unless you let me know. So leave a comment down below. If there's more MVFC fans than I think watching my channel, and you guys want me to do more MVFC breakdowns, and you guys want me to talk about more NDSU, USD like I did today, let me know. I love talking FCS football. That's why I do this. So you guys are what drives this channel. You guys are what drives the content. You guys are what drives what I do. So let me know in the comments, and I will do that. Big game this weekend. Come check us out at the pregame show. Come chat with me. It's going to be amazing under the lights in Wagriz, the Mecca, the last home game for Montana before they hit the road and go to Pocatello, before they return back to Montana. I think they take on Cal Poly or somebody. But, yeah, one more home game, and then they hit the road. So you guys let me know in the comments down below what you think about all of that, and I will catch you guys next time. See you later.